Okay, so you're thinking about checking out this book, Just for the Summer, by Abby Jimenez, right?
Yeah.
But, like, you're kind of hesitant because you heard it's part of a series.
Yeah, the third book, to be exact. So, naturally, the big question is, can you just dive into this one without reading the first two? And more importantly, is it even worth your time? Don't worry, we're going to break it all down for you today.
Got it. We'll be looking at all sorts of reviews and, like, really getting into the nitty-gritty, the writing style, the themes, the characters, all that good stuff. And, yeah, by the end, we'll let you know if we think it's worth picking up. You don't got to commit to the whole series just yet. Let's just see if this book grabs you first.
Sounds like a plan. So what's this book all about then?
Okay, picture this. Both of the main characters, Emma and Justin, have this super weird thing going on, like a curse almost. Get this. Every single one of their exes, like without fail, finds true love right after they break up with them. Oh, wow, that's rough. So is this like a super dark, depressing romance novel then?
No, not at all. It's actually pretty funny. Jimenez manages to make the whole situation kind of humorous. You know, like that movie Good Luck Chuck, but with a rom-com twist. The book actually starts with Justin. He's so baffled by this whole thing that he makes a post on Reddit like, am I the asshole? Because, well, all his exes are finding happily ever after, and he's not. And get this, his post blows up, goes totally viral, and that's how he ends up connecting with Emma.
Okay, now that's kind of cool. So they meet online because of this shared curse.
Yep, exactly. Emma's a traveling nurse, and she sees his post, she's scrolling through Reddit and stumbles upon it. And what does she do? She slides right into his DMs. They decide, hey, why not try dating each other? Maybe they can break this crazy curse together. Plus, they figure it'll be a fun summer fling, hanging out at a cute cottage on Lake Minnetonka. Sounds pretty idyllic, right?
Yeah, for sure. It's a fun premise. But I remember you mentioned something about analyzing the writing and themes, too. What's the deal with that?
So here's the thing about Jimenez. She's got this knack for mixing lighthearted romance with some, heavier topics. And you definitely see that in this book. Emma's dealing with some stuff from her childhood, like neglect. And then there's Justin. He's got his own baggage. His mom's in prison, and he's become guardian to his 3 younger siblings. So, yeah, he's juggling a lot.
Hold on. So it's not all, like, sunshine and rainbows, then? Does it get a little too heavy for a rom-com?
That's a really good question, and honestly, it's something a lot of the reviewers were wondering too. Some of them did say it was a bit emotionally challenging at times, but they also gave Jimenez props for handling those heavier themes, with care. Like, she doesn't sugarcoat things, but she doesn't let the heavier stuff completely overshadow the romance either. She finds a good balance, which she's known for.
Okay, that makes me feel better. But what about the writing itself? Is it, like, witty? Does it flow well? Give me the deets.
All right, so this is where things get interesting. Opinions are kind of all over the place with this one. Some reviewers thought the writing was super straightforward, maybe even a bit too simple, like they were looking for something more, I don't know, lyrical, more depth in the language. But then there were others who actually loved the simplicity. They felt like it was an easy read, and it let them connect with the characters and their emotions without getting lost in a bunch of flowery language.
So mixed reviews on the writing style.
Gotcha.
Gotcha. Okay, but how about the characters? Are they likable? Are they people I can actually relate to?
The characters. All right, so Emma, she's definitely the one that people either love or hate. Some readers found her kind of immature and selfish, especially in how she deals with her past trauma. Like, they thought she wasn't taking responsibility for her actions. But then there's this other group, and this is where I think Jimenez really shines. They saw Emma's vulnerability, like beneath the surface. They connected with her struggles and saw how her flaws made her more more relatable.
Okay, so it sounds like the romance has some depth to it, even though it moves pretty fast. But, we both know a good romance needs more than just a good couple, right?
So, did the reviewers talk about the other characters or the plot in general?
Oh, yeah. Actually, the supporting characters got a lot of love in the reviews. Justin's got 3 younger siblings, and they bring so much heart and humor to the story. You see this protective side of him come out, and I don't know, they just add a whole other dimension to his personality. And then you've got Emma's best friend, Maddie. People described her as absolutely hilarious and super loyal. A lot of reviewers really loved that whole found family vibe that Jimenez created.
That's so nice to hear. But I gotta be honest, I'm still a little iffy about that curse plotline. Does it ever feel like a gimmick? Like, does it overshadow the more realistic stuff happening in the story? That's a really fair point. And to be honest, yeah, some reviewers did say they felt like the curse wasn't really explained that well, or like it didn't have a resolution that felt super satisfying. It's more like the thing that gets Emma and Justin together rather than a huge plot point, you know?
So it's more about their own personal journeys and how they grow than some big supernatural mystery.
Yeah, exactly. The focus is really on all the baggage they're carrying, those emotional scars, and how they kind of help each other heal. The curse is just a unique way to kickstart their story, I guess.
Gotcha. That makes sense. But speaking of the story, what about the pacing overall? You said the romance happens kind of quickly. Did any reviewers think the whole book felt rushed?
Hmm. There were a few who thought the ending was a little too, I don't know, wrapped up in a bow, especially how some of the tougher issues got resolved. They felt like it was a bit too neat and tidy, you know? Real life's messy and doesn't always have perfect solutions. But most reviewers were happy that Jimenez actually tackled those difficult topics head on, even if the solutions felt a little idealistic.
Okay, so mixed feelings on the ending. Interesting. But I'm curious, how does Just for the Summer compare to Jimenez's other books? I know you said you can read it as a standalone, but did reviewers mention any links to her other work?
Now, this is where things get fun for fans of the Part of Your World series. A bunch of reviewers pointed out that there are cameos and little Easter eggs that connect back to the first two books. It's like a little bonus for the loyal readers, you know.
Oh, so I might miss out on some inside jokes if I haven't read the other books.
Maybe, but don't worry, you'll totally understand the main plot and characters in Just for the Summer, even if you haven't read the others. It's just like a little extra layer of fun for people who already know Jimenez's world, that's all.
Okay, good to know. But you know me, I always want to know what makes a book stand out. Did any reviewers mention something that really makes Just for the Summer different from other rom-coms?
You know, one thing that kept popping up in the reviews was how well Jimenez writes about mental health and trauma. It felt really sensitive and real. Like Emma's anxiety and her past trauma are a big part of who she is, and they're woven into the story in a way that feels so authentic and relatable.
Yeah, that's not something you see in every rom-com. So it's more than just a light and fluffy read. There's some real depth and emotion there too, huh?
Oh, for sure. And that seems to be what really connects with readers. It's like a reminder that you can have a fun, romantic story and still address the complicated stuff, you know, the challenges people face in real life.
Okay, now you've got me really curious about this book. But before we get too carried away, we got to answer the big question. Is Just for the Summer actually worth your time?
That's what we're here to help you figure out.
Mm.
All right, let's move on to our recommendation. We'll break it down for you. Who should definitely check this book out and who might want to skip it?
Okay, so we've talked about a lot, the good, the bad, that whole curse thing. But you're probably sitting there like, just tell me, should I read it or not?
Right. Well, here's the thing. It really depends on what kind of book you're looking for. But I'd say if you want a romance that's like heartwarming, you know, a little deeper than your average rom-com, and with characters you can actually see yourself being friends with, then yeah, I think you'd really enjoy Just for the Summer.
There's always a but, right?
Well, yeah, like I was saying, it depends on what you're looking for. If you're into like crazy plot twists and tons of drama, or you really need that super slow burn romance, this one might not be for you. Just for the Summer is much more about the characters themselves.
So more feelings, less thrills.
Yeah, exactly. You're going to get some emotional depth, those warm, fuzzy moments. And of course, Jimenez always throws in some good laughs. And the romance is definitely there, but it's all tied up with these bigger ideas like family and forgiveness, learning to accept yourself, all that.
You keep mentioning family. Is that a big part of the story?
Huge. The fact that Justin is taking care of his three younger siblings, it just adds so much to the book. You really see how much he cares, how responsible he is. And honestly, the siblings are hilarious. They bring a lot of the comedy. It's that whole found family thing that people love about Jimenez's books.
Okay, that does sound really sweet. But what about people who haven't read the first two books in this series? Or they could be totally lost.
Yeah, that's a good question, and it's something we talked about earlier. You're not going to feel lost if you haven't read the other books. Jimenez gives you all the background you need to understand what's going on. Those connections to her other books, they're just like fun little extras for the fans, you know?
So no need to catch up on the whole series before jumping in.
Nope, not at all.
Awesome. All right, if you had to give our listener just one reason to check out Just for the Summer, what would it be?
Oh man, just one. Okay, I'd say if you're looking for a book that'll make you laugh, make you cry, and make you really believe in the power of love and family, then you gotta read this book. Jimenez's writing is so engaging, and the characters, even with all their flaws, you can't help but love them. It might not be perfect, but it'll definitely leave you feeling good. Oh, and watch out for those Toilet King references. You'll know what I'm talking about when you get there.
And there you have it. our deep dive into Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. Hope this helped you decide if it's the right book for you. Until next time, happy reading,